Public sector unions that represent about 1.3 million workers under Cosatu have now tabled their wage demands for the 2022-2023 financial year. Now, they're demanding a 10% increase to help with the rising cost of electricity, transport and food. They're also asking for a 2.5 thousand rand increase in monthly housing stipends and, listen to this, a bursary scheme for their children. Let's unpack all of this for you now. Bring in the committee's convener, Hlungwani, who's with us via our video link this morning. It's great to have you on the program, sir. Thanks very much indeed. We'll speak about those demands in just a moment, but I can't help but notice as a start that unions are now asking for a single-year pay as opposed to what we've seen in the past, which is a multi-year accord. Is this because you've learned from your past mistakes? In other words, you simply don't trust government anymore?
Well, good morning and thank you for having us. Let me greet the viewers at home. Indeed, we are saying once bitten, twice too many. We have been betrayed once by the employer and we are not willing because we have taken lessons. So that's our posture. We are not going to allow for more than one-term agreement. But also, we have also learned when they reneged in the previous agreement that they went to court and claimed that the agreement was illegal. So our outright demand is clearly that they must bring confirmation that Treasury is on board and has given the mandate to negotiate. So those are the two fundamentals that we have put in place as a demand, including the fact that we're only going to take one term because the multi-term has proven that they can renege and we feel betrayed by that action.
Sure. Of course, you're referencing the 2018 accord that went all the way to the Constitutional Court, which ruled in favor of government. But to these demands, you're asking for a 10% increase as a start, way above consumer inflation, which is, I think, at around 5.9%. In fact, there are some people who are saying that government will be shocked by what you're asking for.
Well, if they are reasonable people, they would not be that shocked. Because if you recollect, you would know that the inflation this year is 5.9. But you would also remember that last year, the amount that was offered to the employees or the members of public servants has been below the inflation. And you couple that with the fact that in 2020, there was just no increase at all. So if you look at these mounting facts, coupled with increased in 2020, electricity prices increased in 2021. This year as well, ESCOM has been granted the increase by NERSA. Over and above that, the oil prices that have affected the petrol has been increasing. The food prices has been increasing on a daily basis, including the fact that even the cooking oil is going to be probably triple priced this particular year. So that then explains clearly that the public servants are way worse off than they were in 2019. And as a result, they are the only category or cohort of people within the country that have not been cushioned ever since the emergence of COVID-19. But over and above that, all these other economic crises that we're facing as a country. So it would not even, in our view, difficult for anyone who can think deeper that these demands are commensurate to the current context that we have in the country. And we believe we are ready to fight for what we believe we are entitled to, because we can continue to have public servants that are always worse off, because currently with what we have and the situation, that's why we have also put in the issue of the housing, and that's why we have also put in the other issues, including the bursary scheme, because it looks like public servants are the only people whom, if they cannot afford to pay for their children, they're not even assisted by government because they are so-called, they are so-called missing middle. They can't afford the housing, but still they cannot even afford to be funded by banks or any other person. And we just want a scheme that will be a government component where they'll be able to access housing. For that matter, we're offering this as a matter that will assist our economic growth, because we have some savings that are more than 10 billion. If they are planted back into the economy, they will be reviving the housing industry, and all the value chain of the industry will be benefiting out of that. That's why we're also saying our housing allowance to 2000. That money is, in as much as it's an increase, it doesn't come to our pockets and stays there. It revives the economy. And this is what the country needs to be taking the trajectory towards improving our economic growth.
Sure. I'm sure you'll have an opportunity to argue these things when the negotiations finally start. We're just trying to understand them for now. If you're saying that the 10% is essentially in compensation to the many things that you've just listed, how do you then justify the introduction of this bursary scheme for children? I mean, what exactly is the thinking behind that? Because it certainly sounds like a luxury that many workers across the country don't have, not just those who work in the public sector.
We don't think it is a luxury. We think that children of the poor are given NFSAS, but those who do not qualify for NFSAS are mostly public servants. We do not think this is a luxury, because children of the public servants as well deserves to be educated by the same government that they voted for. So we cannot have public servants as the only grouping or cohort in the country that must languish in poverty and unable to study, to educate their own children. We are also citizens of this country. We need our children educated. Our children are also the future of this country. And if you think of other employees around South Africa,